to say, but spoiler alert. Well, let me do
Boom.
boom. Awesome.
Boom. Awesome intro. Yeah.
So let's talk about some well, okay, up front, since there's only one person watching so far, to give some time to build in, I know Snyder Cut's gonna come up, so let's try to get that out of our system
Out of the
first while
way.
we populate, because I know inevitably it's gonna come up. My first point about being I stayed up way too much to make all that happen. And honestly, like Tuesday feels like a week ago, and that's when I read all of the DC books. So I'm definitely excited to go back and reread all the DC books that came out this week because I cannot hardly remember much of anything after all of this on Wednesday, Thursday.
Which was one day. That's really just one day.
Dude, it was crazy, man. I watched Man of Steel, slept for about an hour and a half, and then I was back up, and I woke up when the alarm went off at 1:30, which I had set, assuming I was going to kind of like sleep and struggle to get up. But I woke up with the first one because I was afraid then I was going to fall asleep and not wake up again. And so I was just sitting in front of the TV, like anxiously waiting for like 30 minutes until it finally released. So it was cool, though. It was fun to do that kind of thing,
Out of it. Yeah, it was making an event out of it. That's what me and my wife talked about. I've been big into movies in general for a long time, and I'm one of those people that would enjoy going to the midnight premieres the day before and stuff like that when they would have them. And I would throw events at the movie stop that I mentioned to you that I was a manager of for years. So it's always fun to get to make an event out of something you're excited about, to kind of build it up and enjoy it for longer than just the runtime of the movie. So it was really cool getting being that we're not on the Pacific Coast, that the movie released to us in the middle of the night, getting to make plans to do something that's outside of our regular schedule, and it really just built it up even more. It made it waking up in the middle of the night, dragging your tired self into the living room, bringing blankets out of the bedroom you normally wouldn't bring, and like it was just really, really fun.
Yeah.
Movie aside, the event was really fun.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like high school, and then especially like post high school and then into college and stuff. Like I was into all of that. I remember like the first midnight premiere I ever went to in a theater was Superman Returns, and that was like what 2006. So
it was early, that's for sure.
Yeah. So that was like my first midnight event. I think after that I got drugged to like one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies or something. That was terrible. But
when you go back and watch them, those are just swashbuckling fun, dude.
Oh yeah, they're fun, but they get progressively cheesier.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've gotten away from them that you expect nothing out of them but to be entertained, and they do that.
Yeah, I saw like all of Nolan's trilogy. I saw those at midnight releases. So this was really cool because I don't think I've ever done a midnight release for a Marvel movie. So this almost feels like I was able to continue a trend that I didn't even realize I was following.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. It was great. I'm more interested in going back and watching it. Like now that all the like first time impressions, everything's like surprising you. I don't know how you've dropped 12 hours into this movie already, man.
Well, I did 8 solid. I did 8 solid yesterday, and then I fired up Falcon and Winter Soldier early this morning, and 40 minutes later, I just felt disgusted in the quality of what I just watched, and immediately turned on Snyder Cut.
Yeah. I haven't watched Falcon and Winter Soldier yet. Why do you think it's not great?
I was about to say without spoiling the story, I really can't tell you, so I can just say, and that just means the writing. Lackluster.
So you think the writing is the holding it back?
Yes. Well, this first episode, that doesn't mean it can't get better. I think this first episode was a very weak first episode.
Is there a lot of action and stuff to it?
I mean, if there was or wasn't, that really wouldn't have an effect on how good of a writing aspect of it. But they kind of try to glaze you over in the opening scene with a really cool action scene, but then there's like even that action, you're like, yeah, cool. It's
Did it
nothing what
look
we
better
have
than
in.
the action on a CW show?
Oh, absolutely. Like
Yes, okay.
this is on
That's the
par
one thing I
with.
want. That's why I want
Yeah, this
HBO
is
Max to do like a
this is on
DC
par
TV
with.
thing because
Have
it's
you
better
watched Titan?
quality.
Have you watched Doom Patrol? Yeah.
I started Doom Patrol, but I've only seen like the first episode.
Okay. Well, I think it's the second episode where you get like Larry Trainor's origin, Negative Man, when you actually see him flying jets and stuff. Like the level of CG in the Disney Plus shows or the DCU shows, not the CW ones, but it's just light years ahead of just standard TV CW stuff. So yeah, it's what you'd expect or want from a higher quality production.
Well,
But the
that's
writing
good.
was just kind of crap. They kind of spent 40 minutes trying to convince me of a concept that doesn't fit, nor was it necessary, and why was it even introduced?
Mm, yeah, that's concerning. I kind of assumed going into this is like we were going to get kind of an actiony first episode to like get us back into the action of Marvel, and then it would be pretty dry as it builds up, and then we would get like a big, almost like a single set piece action
I'm thinking
at the end of the season.
as soon as we get away, they were trying to humanize our characters who are already humanized. We didn't need it, so they're
Mm,
introducing completely new story element to try to humanize Sam Wilson, who's completely human from the first moment
yeah.
you meet him in Civil War when he's spending all of his free time working with PTSD vets. He is
Hmm.
as human of a Marvel character we have. They're trying to reintroduce us to that side of Sam from a side that's unnecessary with new characters that just it really don't
Yeah,
see
they're
it
telling us
doesn't
stuff we
seem.
didn't
I
ask
mean,
about.
yeah, well, they're telling us the stuff that we already know over again, like we're new to it, and they're trying to beat it into our head with a concept that just doesn't work on different levels, and we'll get into that when we do a spoiler-filled review on it when you get a chance to watch it. But
Yeah.
I'm assuming that when we get like the story and the action is going to take us away from the crappy aspects of this first episode. So I don't think it's going to stay like this. I'm hoping it won't. I'm really excited for this series because it just seems like get back into that spy espionage feel that, like you mentioned,
Hmm.
that was so cool with Winter Soldier. So I'm hoping that we get away from all this just because the natural
Yeah.
progression is there.
Yeah, I mean, my hope with this show, because these are two characters, like there's plenty of exploration to do with them, but we also already have enough that I'm not looking for a season to just be like, we're going to explain everything and build these characters. Like, they're already there. What I want from this show is more universe building. I want them to establish a more CIA government blacklist, black agent kind of thing, and there's like safe houses everywhere, and so that we can have some characters and movies enter on that kind of side of the universe and get away from so much like cosmic stuff. That I mean, that's what concerns me is Marvel went so big so fast with the MCU that like now it's going to be really hard to establish like a neighborhood character and not have him get sucked up into the zeitgeist of fighting Thanos, you know.
They kind of I think they kind of shot all that in the foot when they did away with the Netflix stuff. They shouldn't have done away with it, but just
Let it be its
I
own
mean
universe to the
they
side.
yeah, they should have just let it exist because those are your street level characters. I know they're very specific to Hell's Kitchen in New York and all that, but they grounded it. They really grounded it. And we already know that Charlie Cox is being brought into the Spider-Man movie, even though after WandaVision, who knows what that means? It could mean something. It could not. He could come in as a character called Murdoch Matt, just as a joke for Marvel, because that seems like what they're willing to do with their characters now, which is absolutely stupid. But I was mentioning it to somebody I was speaking to today. I think that like we might see like a little speed bump with the MCU stuff where they might have gotten too popular too fast that they think that they can't miss, and they're not necessarily putting as much thought and effort into some of the stuff they do. And after
Hmm.
you made that comment about how WandaVision showed us how toxic the fans can be, I'm wondering how long it's going to take them with missing before they realize you can't just throw anything out there. You got to stick with that consistent good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think the effect you see is like with the movie, sure, people speculate about it, but it comes and it goes, you know?
It
And I
does.
think what Marvel forgot, and surely they did not realize this because we saw it a lot with Game of Thrones, but when you have these weekly releases, the positive effect is that you're staying on people's minds because you're driving a weekly conversation, you know? But on the other hand, you're also giving people that much more time to keep predicting each episode, you know? And so they kind of created this environment where you have people that are speculating as much for each episode week in and week out as they were for like one movie for an amount of time, you know? Like it drives the conversation, it keeps people interested, but it also keeps the toxicity there and it spreads more that way. And so I'm gonna be interested to see how Marvel and Disney kind of try to handle the fandom on a weekly release like this instead of the way that it got with WandaVision, because that was
You're
insane
right.
how toxic it got.
Right sizing my expectations is I'm finding it to be not as easy as I would want it to be. I can say it in theory, but like it's weird. It's a new territory.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also a strange thing just because like, you know, everything this stuff is so big, like it has to appeal to the most people possible. And so that's kind of that's the other side of it is like sure they could probably make a great show with like the deepest of cuts, you know, but is that going to appeal to enough people to make it viable? And you know that all kind of comes back around over and over again, but like how much can they stick in there, you know, for the average person and still get enough money to pay for it? So we got Dale of Suspense and Slotted Up. That's Jason, right? That's his name.
Yeah, and Dale of Suspense's real name is actually Dale. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I deduced that from those letters, that combination. Flash by Night
Yeah,
is that's a Mike, I think. No,
I'm not sure.
no.
I just call him Flash by night.
Flash by Night. Cool. So, what about this week? What kind of books have you read this week? I know you do your
Justice League.
DC pool on Tuesday.
Yeah, but that I've literally only read like I read Justice League 59 right before I went live for that hangout on Tuesday, and I haven't read anything else other than the first 7 pages of Superman Red and Blue before this one while I was waiting on you.
Oh yeah.
It's
So,
been a crazy week, man.
what were
I
your
think we
thoughts
even
on
mentioned it
Superman Red and
Tuesday.
Blue?
I really can't call it yet, but that first story seems really interesting. Like I mentioned to you, I was really upset with how John Ridley had kind of approached other history of the DC universe in issue 2. Really happy with issue 1, but my brother's Mike. Dude, you were close. You get
I
you a
know,
crystal
right?
ball. Yeah, but it was weird because other history number 2, the writer kind of took a couple of unnecessary shots or attacks at some characters, including Superman. But I'm reading the story that he wrote in this issue, and it's actually a really cool aspect that he's approaching Superman with. I like that they took a really, really old issue of World's Finest where something kind of blasé happened in it, which he's revisited with like a modern take on comics. And when you look at it, it's not so blasé. It was actually a very big deal and a traumatizing moment that he's able to re-explore through the lens of trauma. So I thought that that was awesome.
Yeah, I read that one and I don't remember exactly what the whole thing was, but here's what I remember. I was
He
like
was in a
really
concentration camp,
focused.
depowered in a concentration camp, being
That's
tortured
right.
for eight
Okay.
months.
Yeah, that was mildly interesting to me, and I tried to pay a lot of attention. And then the second story, like I kind of paid less attention. And then I think there's two other stories in there, right? Because I just like flipped through the rest of the book. And one thing, the art wore out on me real quick. It was cool at first, but after that first story, I was kind of like, I don't know, like this art is weird. And yeah, it
They
also,
change up artists, don't they? I haven't been past the
I
first
think
story at
it's
all yet.
different, but still the same. I'm sure it's all in red and blue, but like the
I know it's a
style
color hold.
changes.
Yeah, I didn't know if they had different artists doing the drawing. I know the color pattern is all uh,
Yeah, I
red and
think the
blue.
art style changes a little bit from story to story. Um, yeah, I don't know. It was a cool concept. I need to reread it with a fresh mind and see what I think of it though.
Burned out. I still don't know what your goal was burning through those movies multiple times in a short time span like that. I'm excited to see what kind of content comes out of that push you did.
For The Snyder Cut.
for the Snyder movies. Like every time I talk to you, like, yeah, I'm watching Superman again. I'm watching Batman v Superman again. I'm
Well,
about to start Justice. I'm like, dude, that's like 6 movies in 2 days.
well, yeah. I mean, the thing is though, like I find that nothing sticks with me very well, like the first time, and so I
Mhm.
always like double dip everything. And so like even comic books, I usually don't even really talk about them until I've read them twice, because the first time, like I feel like I don't retain anything. I'll start to remember it as I talk about it, but just to think like, oh, this thing that happened in this issue, like it's so vague for me, I can't ever remember. So I would typically do that with movies too, though. Like, um, Tarantino's Hateful Eight. Like I sat down and I just watch it like twice back to back. And that way it sticks, you know. So every movie for me is twice the journey. But I did
That's
Man
pretty
of
funny.
Steel on Tuesday night. I watched it again Tuesday morning, and then or Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday night I watched Batman versus Superman, and then I watched the Snyder Cut, and then I watched Batman versus Superman again that day. So I'm due for another Snyder Cut
Well,
watch
I still haven't got your takeaway from the ultimate cut for
of
Batman v
Batman versus.
Superman.
I think the Man of Steel 2 version of that movie is a lot better. Batman is
What do
like
you mean?
super ham-fisted into that movie. There's no reason for him to be there. You could completely cut all the Batman stuff out, reduce your runtime by like 45 minutes, and you would still have like a really good story of a man that wants to be a god and a god that just wants to be a man. And I think that would have been a more fun story to get us to the Snyder Cut, because even the Snyder Cut resets. Like you can go into that movie knowing only that Superman is currently dead and you're good. Like you can understand the whole rest of that movie minus some things that are very extraneous.
Hmm. So you're saying with the Batman, the Superman Batman extended cut, you were actually able to get the clear story that I was telling you existed with Clark going on the journey of like the reporter's journey of breaking down what Batman's up to and kind of unfolding Lex what all he's been up to and seeing all that compared to the theatrical cut that had no at all story built into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the theatrical cut of Batman versus Superman, like they chop the story up and they don't take any specific elements. Like the the you know, like the cinema cut of that movie could have cut out all the Superman or all the Batman stuff. Like that is literally next to a whole different movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so they could easily have edited
They should lock
Batman
it
pretty
though.
much out of that film, left him at the end as a little bit of a stinger, like Nick Fury style, like, hey, I got
I
these
won't.
briefs on these new heroes. I'm gonna go find them and put something together. But I don't understand why they tried to keep the Batman and the Superman stuff in the cinematic cut and not keep all of it, because you do need all of it for both of those movies to make sense.
Yeah, I thought the differences between the two movies were night and day.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to actual cohesive story, the amount of stuff and what they chose to take out, and that just lets you know how much that, and I'm not sitting here just trying to fanboy Snyder this whole time, but that lets you know how much that none of what was taken out was his decision. Because everything that they took out was all actual story driven content, and everything that they left in was just superhero randomness at that point. When you take out all
Mm-hmm.
of the connecting threads to how the plot is progressing, all you have is hollow pieces of characters, and that's all that we got in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, I think if you gave Snyder all of the footage that he films and put a gun to his head and said, make me a 2 hour movie, I guarantee you he could give you a good Batman versus Superman just taking the footage he shot. And I
Yes.
think the same thing. I think he could have given us a good 2 to 2.5 hour Justice League movie with all the footage he shot, just taking what he needs to tell a story. I think he could do it, but he just won't. And that's the
Well, I think
problem.
he, I think with this, he wasn't attempting to. I don't think he chose. I
No,
don't think
not in
he
this
had a
version, not at
big.
all.
I don't think he had a big hand in what was kept and thrown out in the Batman v Superman.
Mm-mm.
And I think with this opportunity to give us the full Justice League, he took advantage of it and wanted to give back to the fans who helped make this such a thing. So why would he even consider the idea of putting out a 2.5 hour long Snyder cut? Why would that even be a thought in your head in
Oh
this
no, at this
situation?
point,
Yeah,
absolutely not. I
yeah,
think I think what he needs to bite the bullet and understand though is if he would make his 3 hour Batman versus Superman and cut a theatrical version for Warner Brothers to make their money, he could have had
mm,
both sides of it. He could have
yeah,
had a good 2 hour movie to put in theaters so Warner Brother makes their money, and then on the DVD, Blu-ray, HD, whatever release, put the director's cut. Boom, he gets to
yeah.
show his full vision to the true fans that want it, but Warner Brothers also gets to make their money and fund the next project.
Yeah, I
And he should
agree.
have done that with Justice League as well
If
from the
he's able to
beginning.
slim down his full vision to something that's workable with minor cuts, like that, he wins in both aspects. But
Yeah,
yeah, if he
because
keeps his full vision at something that's outside of the scope of a standard working model, it just isn't going to be, like you said, commercially viable. You
yeah,
can't
I mean,
expect
if you
so many
took
people
like
to
all of
play that.
Batman out of Batman versus Superman, right? And the dream sequence, especially take the dream sequence out. That's the only thing that's connecting you to Justice League. And if the theatrical version of Justice League also did not include the dream stuff, the viewer would not even know that it's missing. Like that's how far
Zack
removed it
Snyder,
is.
Zack Snyder made the point that when he was making Batman v Superman and Justice League, they were telling him that he had to cul-de-sac the film. It needed to be completely self-contained, and he tried to explain to them that's not how superhero stories are told. Whether you plan on having a sequel or not, whether you know you're going to have one or not, you do not bookend superhero stories. You don't bookend not just superheroes, but just like a hero's journey. Like go back to the Joseph Campbell stuff. There is no finality in any of it, and that's how he approaches stuff like this. Whether it be the story of the Spartans with 300, or whether it be the Odyssey or the Iliad, or whether it be Superman and Batman, you do not bookend it. That's not how they're told.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was thinking about this today. Like
Fanboy away, Mark.
Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers wanted what Warner Brothers is looking for is a movie with superheroes in it. And what Zack Snyder was making was a superhero epic.
But what it comes
And I
down to
think
in a
that's where the
nutshell, what
values
Warner Brothers needs to
misalign
look
there.
for is a dunce cap and go put it on and sit facing the corner and let the people who know what they're doing do what they do. It comes down to that.
Yeah.
When we get the delivered product, it's time to start really facing facts. Like it didn't work in the past because this was the mold that they wanted and this is the mold that's expected. But now that we got what we got and we see what the real potential is, what these things can actually be, whether these are the superheroes you prefer or not, when we see the level of storytelling, film quality, and just scope and magnitude of these things that they can be, there's no reason to look back. We need to be looking forward to more Lord of the Ring level stories to be told in the superhero genre. Like I hope that this was a game changer, and we can just kind of go into the stuff moving forward with different expectations on it. You know what I mean? Like expect a 3 hour movie. Don't expect to go see a superhero movie that you can walk in and out of in 2 hours. Like I'd rather us just to have a change in the whole way that we view them going forward.
Yeah. Well, I just think that we're going to see the model change, and I think this is where it rubs Schneider wrong. Is I think he's a film guy. Like he wants his movies to be presented in a theater on a massive screen. But
Mm-hmm.
even if you look at like Lord of the Rings, because I truly believe that like these are like a superhero version of Lord of the Rings. They're an epic storytelling type of delivery, and I think those things, like even Lord of the Rings, if it was pitched today, it would be pitched as a 6 hour long
Yeah,
episode story arc. It would not be
I
three
can see
movies. They
Peter
would get
Jackson
six.
trying to tell him, I'm going to make
Yeah.
3 hour movies. Like, get out of here.
Like it
Get
was a big
going.
push way back then, and back then we didn't have any other way to do long form storytelling. Today we have that, and it's streaming, and it's just you're gonna see more and more of these like long stories. I mean, we're already seeing a lot of seasons are going to like 9 episodes, and they just tell like a very decompressed story. And I think
Yeah.
that's where Snyder needs to be. Like he needs to spearhead all of that for HBO. Like HBO
He's the
Max, their
guy for the
superhero
job.
universe streaming platform needs to be there, and he needs to handle that. But I think for the movies, it's just to make the commercial success they need, it's going to be a lot different than
Yeah,
what he
it's still too,
presented.
yeah, this ain't the time for that, I don't think either. As much as
Hmm.
I would like it, and I can see going in there and being completely satisfied. That's like most people just don't have that kind of excitement for movies in general, much less like a specific kind of movie. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
really you keep narrowing and narrowing and narrowing down your market. But needless to say, this was one of the most enjoyable moments I've ever had watching a movie in my life.
Yeah. It
For
was really cool. There
numerous
was,
reasons.
yeah, there's so many moments in there. Even I was just like, oh my God, like that's so cool, you know? The Green Lantern, like that was so cool to
Wow.
actually see that on the field happening, you know? Because
Hmm.
in the original, well, the cinematic cut, it's all you see is the ring fly off, right? It's basically
Well,
the end of that sequence.
he goes up for 1 second. You see him swing one time, and
Hmm.
then the ring just going up. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
you
so they cut out all the middle of it right there,
no,
pretty much.
Snyder kind of did a. I think that he kind of went back because there was a lot of. If you go back and you pause the theatrical cut on the lantern and look at him, it's some of the worst CGI you've ever seen. So what they did in the Snyder cut when he takes flight and he goes up and he shoots the ring, Snyder hits you with a good solid pause. He almost like pauses it for a second so you can see like this dude looks good. It was awesome.
Oh, my bad. Wow, and that's probably the only spoiler we actually talked about, I think. Yeah, let's move on from the Snyder cut. Unmute. Yeah, anyway, so Superman, what else? Oh, you talked about Justice League and Cole. Um, he was asking me earlier about the Justice League comic. So what did you think on that one?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I think Bendis took a personal shot at the naysayers in the first page on it, which I with Ollie and Dinah's conversation when they were talking about how it was a good idea that Clark chose to reveal his secret identity. Are we doing spoilers on this, or is this a spoiler free? Because I
Spoiler
can
free
go both ways.
version.
Okay. So Bendis takes a shot at readers by referencing something that fans are not too happy with on his run, and he did it in context of the story with the characters in the story actually speaking on it, and how one of them thought it was a good idea, and the reasons why he thought it was a good idea inside the context of these characters. And it actually made sense what he was saying. It doesn't mean I agree with him, but it was a perspective that was valid, and I thought that was cool right out the gate. The again, I think the team dynamic is what it is, but it's no secret that Black Adam is getting brought into the story heavily, and the way that they introduced him, yet again, we're seeing him a different side of him, where they're kind of make him more likable across the board as an anti-hero, not just a villain. But there's a couple little nuanced moments, especially with the art without dialogue, that you kind of like just really drug you into the emotions of the character and how subtle it can be, especially when you're seeing a softer side of major powerhouses, where you see sometimes it isn't about like these, oh, they have no weaknesses. Yeah, they do. Anybody with a conscience has major weaknesses. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what people forget all the time. Oh, these characters are so overpowered. Dude, the biggest heart in all of DC Comics is the most powerful person out there. He's the most vulnerable when it comes to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why you only see so many superheroes, you know? It takes a certain type of person in the first place to be capable of that responsibility, you know? I mean, Peter Parker being the most on the nose about it, but there is like a sense. I mean, I talk about it all the time with Superman. I think what's crazy about Superman is like he's scared to death of losing control. Like he doesn't want to lose control because he knows how powerful he truly is, you know? And so I think that's something that this was like pretty good at. Like it tapped
Mm-hmm.
into like superhero ness and connected it to like human nature, you know? And so that was really interesting. I didn't realize that Bendis wrote this issue though. I don't know why I overlooked that. And then Cole was like, yeah, you know, said something about Bendis. And I was like, oh, yeah, you know, like I forgot this was a big deal. He was moving to Justice League, but
Yeah,
it was solid. I enjoyed it.
solid. Yes, it was, wasn't it?
I thought it was cool how meta it was. Like he basically outright references the real world and comic fandom and comes for them, you know? So that was cool. And like Cole said, like Green Lantern, he wants more of that. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that the Green Lantern Black Canary book that was announced, that's supposed to be Williamson, is what I've heard. I don't
Green
know if they've
Arrow.
confirmed it though.
Man,
Or yeah, Green Arrow and Black Canary.
I'm not sure who's writing it. If Williamson's writing it, I'm reading it hands down.
Yeah. So I think those characters are going to get their due in this
You
one.
can write a story about a hot dog vendor on the streets of Gotham. I'm reading it.
Yeah. So I am excited for that. But like I told Cole, like my memory, especially after Snyder cut and all of that, my memory goes immediately to Justice League Dark. Like that story was so good at the back there. Yeah,
Dude,
Arrow.
what I thought was cool was the Justice League Dark story was almost like an intro to the finale we saw in Future State. But there's a little bit of character design difference in the villain that shows up, and it made him look so much more menacing.
Yes.
So much more menacing. Just walking through calmly everything, just like nothing is a care in the world. And the relationship that always gets teased between two of the very fan favorite characters. I love the tease and the relationship that they did. Yeah, I'll get there.
I love the way that he comes in and everything. Those panels are big and open, and like he's this small figure. It's so menacing the way that he comes in. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm absolutely pumped, and of course, they remember to throw in a little bit of my favorite character there. We didn't necessarily see him in full form, but I'm very nervous knowing how he was approached in Future State. If we're really going to get him, or if we're just going to get those minor teases, and he's going to have to sit the sidelines. You know how he sidelined himself for so long until he finally did it.
Yeah, but I hope we get some good like inner turmoil and disagreement with the soul about that. I think that'll be a fun way to play that. But yeah, I hope he's not sidelined all the time. I hope they pull him out sometimes like the Hulk.
I'm going to grab him a cookie real quick because this will never stop.
Yeah, but as soon as I saw Jason Blood there, I was like, oh yeah, like Mark is for sure about to be into this. I love the visuals in that issue. It's really cool. They have, he walks in and he comes down the stairs and it's like this big glowing door and just like the way that the shots are established and stuff. It's really cool stuff. I liked Justice League. Now that I've talked a little bit about it and I remember it more, I need to go back and read it. I'm really excited to reread all the DC books that I read on Tuesday because, I read quite a few books and then I binged a lot of Snyder stuff. So my brain needs to be purged. But I think one of the other books everybody was really excited about, and I don't think Mark read this one or was reading this one, but I read Future State Justice League, so I need to go back and read Justice League Dark. I would highly suggest reading Justice League Dark in the Future State books. It was a really good story, way better than the Justice League story. Although both were pretty solid, so. But I don't think you have to read it in order to know where this story is at. But I don't know. I enjoyed Justice League Dark in the Future State book, so I do suggest it.
I think that all of the Future State titles, we're seeing them sprinkled into the current titles. It's almost like Future State was the finale of everything, and everything moving forward that's getting referenced is kind of like the starting point. And I don't expect any of them to lead to that ending. I expect all of them to kind of deviate.
Yeah. And then the next one I was going to talk about is Nightwing. I don't know. Were you reading Nightwing before?
I was not, and I haven't read this one yet either.
Yeah, I read the first one. This is the new Tom Taylor run that everybody was excited for. And even I, like, having not really read any Tom Taylor, I know the books that are marketed with his name. This Nightwing seems like the kind of character that aligns with a lot of those. So
I'm familiar with him from like Constantine, from Deceased, and I read all of his run on the Earth 2 characters in New 52. He's a more hardcore writer.
Yeah. This first issue was cool, but it definitely felt like they're trying to break from what was going on and reset. And so like I don't know if I would say a majority, but a lot of this book was really just kind of resetting things for a new story to unfold. But there's like some flashback stuff that I really like the way he wrote young Dick Grayson in. And then the stuff that's happening in the present timeline is interesting because it kind of like changes the dynamic of Dick and Bruce at this point in a lot of ways. So I'm interested to see how that also affects things. But overall, there wasn't a lot in that book because it was mostly just trying to reset and break from whatever it was. And he makes like meta references to like his memory loss and stuff. So apparently they're kind of, trying to tie it off right there and let all that go. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not, as much as I like Tom King, I'm not sure if I'm going to try to follow Nightwing. I feel like I'm having a very difficult time keeping up with my regular pool stuff right now,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's not small by any means, but it's not like oversized right now. But I feel like life is just really busy right now, so it's difficult. So a lot of stuff I do go back and read and like catch up, you know. So I
I
don't
mean,
know if I'll be able to keep up with it in real time or not.
my only thing with that, I mean, I wasn't reading Nightwing, so I had no, and I don't read Tom Taylor, so I didn't necessarily have any real drive other than my pull list keeps shrinking. So I'm like, if this is a jumping on point to a series, it's better time than any to add it to my list right now, because it just like I think this new video was only like 5 or 6 books. I mean,
Hmm.
the one before that was like 8. So it's going
Yeah.
down week by week.
I did
And
mention earlier in the week how I was excited that it was a small week because I'll catch up on some of these hardbacks that I picked up and stuff. But I haven't even been able to read the 2 DC books that I picked up Tuesday.
yeah, but kind of unfair week to try to gauge.
Yeah, and
I
I don't
haven't
know
read
why
as
I didn't
much
think about
either.
that. I didn't think about that going into Tuesday. Like I knew Snyder Cut was Thursday, but I thought that I would like have all Wednesday evening to
You
sleep.
thought
I
it was
kind of
only going to
had,
be Thursday.
well, I kind of had some stuff happen Wednesday that kind of just kind of kamikazed my whole day, and I wasn't able to accomplish anything Wednesday. And I was surprised that I managed to pull off what I did Thursday, but happy I was able to. So I kind of lost a complete day, and then
Yeah,
Thursday was dedicated to something else.
yeah, yeah. I read on Wednesday, but Thursday I didn't read anything at all. So,
Yeah, no.
um, yeah. Did
Thursday
you read
I
Catwoman?
tried to understand and process what these emotions were I was having. It was weird.
All those tears in your eye.
Yeah. Like why am
Should
I
I say
sweating out of my
ah?
face? So many good books out there and impossible to read them all. I've not read Nightwing in months, even though I still pick them up. Yeah, and see, and what I do with stuff like that I don't necessarily feel I would read in real time. I just get used trade paperbacks. I have numerous shops here in town that do buy, sell, and trade stuff, and you can go in there and catch like. There's all these people that buy trades when they come out, read them, and immediately trade them in. To get the highest value they can get for them. And
Yeah.
those $15 trades sell between $5 to $8. You can't beat it.
So you're getting for like $2 to $5. That ain't bad.
And the store I go to, I always have like a buy two get one free discount for used stuff. So spending $16, like you get 3 trade paperbacks for the price of one. It's really really good deal. It's hard to pass up on that.
Yeah.
Work it into your reading schedule.
Heck yeah. Did you read Catwoman?
Mm-mm.
That's another one I was like, hey, this might be a jumping on point, so might as well add it to the list right now. It's really cool though, man. They introduced a new villain. I remember what she looks like. Don't remember if she has a name yet. But kind of reminds me of Ghost from the Marvel movie Ant-Man and the
Oh
Wasp.
man, yeah, that was an Iron Man villain that got moved over.
Hmm. But yeah, they introduced this new like bad guy that's got like a kind of a full like honeycomb kind of looking mask thing, and it uses some of the like coloring techniques that they used for the Solar Rangers and Beyond the Grid. How they
Oh,
had like the '80s like kind of like neon lighting look to them and stuff.
I'm all the way in now. That was the coolest run of Power Rangers they've done, hands.
Yes, most original by far.
Mhm.
Like they got into cosmic stuff. They got into like hard sci-fi stuff and like cosmic storytelling. I was like, what the heck? This is amazing. But yeah, the way they do the colors for the Solar Rangers and stuff, the way it's all like askewed and stuff, looks kind of like TikTok.
Yeah. Does Simone DeMeo do the artwork in Catwoman? I know she was on Future. There is that a girl or a guy? Is it
Simone
Simon or
is a guy. He
Simone?
did
Does he,
the artwork for Harley Quinn in
oh,
Future State.
yeah. Has he moved over to Infinite Frontier title yet?
Not that I know of. I don't remember who did the artwork in Catwoman, but it was cool. I
I don't know
liked
why I
it.
haven't thought of that. Like I hadn't, because I've been actually seeking out some of the previous artists that I was really big fan of. Like I'm a big fan of Ivan Reis, who was on the Superman title with Bendis. So I didn't see him for a while in the solicitations, but finally I found what book he's landed on, and it comes out next week, and it's one I already pick up, so I'm very excited. But I don't know why I didn't think to look for Simone's uh, Infinite Frontier work.
Yeah. Let's see. Ramvi, Blanco, and Belair. Yeah. So no, not Simone.
Now, I'm not familiar with any of those other than the writer.
Yeah. Belair, I want to say is Jordy Belair. Which I think I know a little bit of that work, but not super well. But yeah, the artwork's really cool. The line work kind of reminds me of like, is it Jason Howard in Big Girls? Kind of like scratchy looking Ando Blanco. Line work's kind of like scratchy, dark, heavy lines and stuff, but the color work reminds me of Beyond the Grid. Yeah, like the color work is definitely something that'll catch your attention in this book. It's really cool.
I want to know who the color artist was on the Immortal Wonder Woman, because that was an impressive color artist. And whoever did the coloring for Batman 106 was hands down the best thing about Batman 106. And Jorge Jimenez's artwork is fantastic, but the colorist just really made it something more than it deserved to be.
Tamara Bonvillain's really good too. Bonvillian.
Dr. No is a good Bond villain.
And future Wonder Woman was Geordie. Oh, okay.
Was that like a Third Reich reference?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be Future State Wonder Woman or
yeah,
it's Immortal Wonder Woman. I don't know what the typo would be there.
Wonder Woman, yeah, because the just Future State Wonder Woman was Jolie Jones, and I don't know if she does her own colors or not, but
yeah, I'm not sure either. But yeah, Catwoman, I do suggest that one. Check that out. Like Nightwing, I could see you not really getting into, even though it's a jumping on point. But Catwoman, I think you'll really dig because you like Ram V's writing, and like I said, the artwork is pretty beautiful to look at.
It still feels weird saying I need to read Catwoman, but after Future State, I would have never guessed it.
Yeah, I mean, I had even heard people were kind of like talking about Catwoman pre-Future State, sort of in the same vein as like Zdarsky's Daredevil run. Like, there's a certain group of people that like worship it, and then like nobody is really reading it on the big screen, though, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of already knew I should be reading Catwoman, but then once we read it in Future State, I was like, holy crap, like there's some cool concepts in here. And yeah, I read, so that's the reason I grabbed this one, and it delivered again.
Yeah, just solid writing can carry a book. Like when even if you're on like a filler issue, if the content's not there, and yeah, I've been more than impressed with that writer.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I have been hearing his name for so long, and every time I read something, I keep thinking like the hype is too big on this, like he's not going to deliver, and then the book does every single time. Like everything he writes is delivered for me. I think Future State Swamp Thing was probably like my least favorite of his writing thus far, and even that was still like really phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. I was very pleased with it.
I mean, the bar was so high at that point, and then like I liked Catwoman even better than that one. His new Swamp Thing 1, amazing, like way. That's easily like the best thing I've read from him so far.
Like I enjoyed Jolie Jones' artwork, but her style isn't like a oh I gotta have it style. I'm a lot more classic superhero style with stuff. Like I can definitely appreciate her artwork and be like, wow, that looks
Hmm.
good, but that really thin pencils and the kind of pastel like colored pattern to it, I don't know, just it definitely looked good, but I'm not like, oh my god, check out this art, everybody.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like I appreciate it whenever I read it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is great artwork, but it's also not something that like pulls me to a book. I'm not like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna read that, and then people are like, oh, well, it's Joelle Jones. I'm like, oh, I have to have it. Like it's not that good, but I appreciate it for what it is. Oh, okay, yeah, Yara. So he was talking about Yara
Yeah,
Floor.
I don't know which comic burrito that is. There's so many
That's Colt,
ingredients
the
in
one on
that.
the right.
Top right. Okay, hey Cole, will
Cole,
you look up who did
change
the
your names
colors
instead
on?
of like I'm Cole. It should be I'm on the right and I'm on the
Yeah,
left. I'm on the bottom.
but will you look up who did the colors on Immortal Wonder Woman? It was almost like something like dude, I can remember being in like elementary school back in the day. You would go to the library every now and then. They would have an actual like children's illustrator or writer for kids books come in and read you one of their actual books and
Hmm.
show you the pages. But some of the coloring in some of those things it's actual artists that would work on those. And the colors for Immortal Wonder Woman did such a mesmerizing job. Like the reds were vibrant, the blues were just cold, like
Hmm.
it was really, really cool. Not talking about the artist, but the color specifically was just
Yeah.
wow.
Hmm. Let's see. Did you read Thor? I still haven't got
Absolutely,
around to reading
absolutely
that.
not. I've read hardly nothing, and I
Oh, you're
haven't
not
been.
even reading Thor anyway, are you? That's
No,
right.
dude, you have me excited about possibly reading it, but I feel like I get enough of the story, and I'm sure that's never the case. But you've kind of been breaking it down really well.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed. Like, I mean, I wasn't into those two Emilio Lopez.
Yeah, give
Um,
that person an award.
I wasn't into like
No,
those
you
Hammer
just had
issues in the
two.
middle there, and the Black Winter stuff wasn't even the best of what Thor has been. But man, you get into the Donald Blake storyline, and like that one, I'll probably go buy that in trade too if they release just like that as a collection.
What is
Oh
it
man,
called?
it's so cool.
Prey? Is that the storyline?
Yeah, Prey, Prey. Yeah, it's really cool stuff. Travis loved the newest Thor,
Is
but
Travis the
I didn't.
bottom?
No, he's not on the show. I'm assuming he's
Oh,
talking about Travis. He's a creator that comes on the show sometimes, though. And he's
is
in the
that a
Discord.
humble brag? Is that what that is? That's a humble brag.
I liked it, but didn't read Doctor Strange, so I assume it didn't hit as hard for me. Didn't read Doctor Strange. What'd they have to do with Thor? I guess they got Doctor Strange in there now. Um, oh, and then the other book I had on my list this week was Ultramega, which I haven't read that one yet either.
Um, I didn't tell my LCS to throw one in my box. I was just going to grab one off the shelf, and there wasn't one, so I'm just going to have to. I didn't want to read that one digitally because it's oversized, And
Mm-hmm.
there's when you're reading oversized, I don't know that. Like I can
Yeah,
read
it's eight
digital.
dollars, right?
Yeah, and I can read digital books, like it's not a problem. But when I'm hitting oversized digital books, I don't know when I start to get that fatigue, I can't feel my progress. I know that sounds weird, but like when I'm holding a physical,
Mm-hmm.
I can feel my progress and visually see what I have left. It just puts my
Yeah, you feel
mindset
the
into
weight
you got
shift.
this. Yeah, I get the mode of like I got this. I can get this. But just going digitally, I'm like I have no clue where I'm at,
Yeah.
and
And whenever
I'm
you start to
learning.
feel the slightest bit of fatigue, you're like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm close to the end and I should power through or
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
give up because I'm
delete
only five
button.
pages in.
Yeah.
It's weird and gross, but I liked it. It's an interesting. Oh, okay. You know what? I might be 2 issues behind then. I need to double check because last
Why,
time,
he's in the book, right?
yeah, right. The last one that I finished was whenever he goes and eats the steak dinner, and then he goes out to the woods and he's looking for Thorg.
I feel like that was a long time ago because y'all have talked about that steak dinner a lot. It was like super bloody or something.
Yeah, it was like the rarest steak you've ever seen. Actually, to me, it didn't look as rare as they made it sound, but it's definitely got
Picking up
plenty
an
of blood
actual
to it.
cow.
Yeah, but I like rare steak, so to me it wasn't that rare. But Steve seems like a well done kind of guy. You know how the Midwestern types are.
Shopping at Major and stuff.
So yeah, I probably need to get caught up on Thor. But good news, guys. Releases are slowing to a trickle. Pull lists are going down, so I have time to get caught up on these things. Let's see. There's an interesting tie-in to Doctor Strange. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I'm 2 issues behind. I thought I was just missing the one that came out this week. It's weird and gross, but I liked it, which is kind of what I'm hearing. I'm assuming he's talking about Ultramega because that's kind of what I'm hearing. Everybody seems like it's not exactly what they expected, but and it was kind of outside of a lot of people's sensibilities, but it actually turned out to be successful for a lot of people too. Throg, that's his name. Whenever the last one I read is whenever he shows up in the forest, so I don't think I've read an issue that's really about him specifically. Yeah, see, I thought it was like a like a medium rare steak to me, really, but they talked about it like it was a very rare steak. I was like, I usually eat rare or medium rare, so it seemed about right to me. But it was bloody. Like he has a big beard, and it's like all the blood from the steak and stuff is soaking into it, and he has this maniacal look on his face, and then he has like this crazy moment where he like flashes back and stabs Jane Foster in the hand and stuff. So it's cool. As long as there's blood.
Like a normal steak.
Yep. So anything else that you've read or that you're excited?
I haven't, but I've got Radiant Black on, like sitting here to go. I was going to go ahead and read Radiant Black and this week's issue of Cantwell's Iron Man before I read Superman Red and Blue. But I don't. And then it dawned on me that Superman Red and Blue I thought is just a collection of stories, so I could probably like kill one out in the kind of the short time I was working with. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Radiant Black for sure.
Yeah, I'm still like, I'm sure this is going to be a more action-packed issue, and we're going to see him like try to figure out the suit and stuff. But honestly, like I'm waiting for the third one. I think the third one's when we're going to see it really find its footing and take off.
I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm not wanting an action-packed issue. I guess I was hoping it would be what you just said is going to be the third issue. But I don't really feel like there's. I don't know. I'm just not impressed with the concept of it at all. Like at all. And I'm hoping they get to something that impresses me, because right now I mentioned it. I feel sad for Higgins after reading that first issue, and I'm not trying to be funny or any type of way about it, but just knowing his circumstances and everything, and seeing how much of it translated onto the pages. Just like, come on, man, dude. This guy needs to go make amends. Yeah, he needs to go make amends and get over some stuff, and then come back to comics.
Yeah, I felt like there was, and I mean, this is something that I do all the time, but I don't know. To me, I would have wrote some of those scenes in that first one a little bit different, and I would have changed the way the story was told a little bit. And I don't believe that he doesn't see that. I believe that editorial was like, we need to make money on this. So like, this is how it's going to have to start in order to make the sales numbers that we have X amount of years of data showing that this is the story that sells a number one,
Yeah. Well, I think it's weird for them to assume that a story sells a number one when no one's read the story that they're buying.
Yeah, but I mean, you know how those big companies and corporations are. It's all numbers. Like they turn a story into numbers, and then they can paint by numbers and sell the same amount over and over again.
I think the only number that matters is the one. People just buy ones just in case. There's a reason why it drops after number one, because they're using that formula that's not an accurate
formula. I mean that's the problem. It burns out, it gets stale, it picks up in speed, it peaks, and then it like kind of dies, but that's the model they're already on. But I think once you get past that first issue and that second issue, I think that's when editorial will kind of back off and be like, yeah, you tell your story and do your thing. So hopefully we'll see it breathe a lot more with issue 3. But I'm excited to read issue 2 and see where it goes, and find out more about it. Like it was a cool world, I guess. Kind of.
I just don't think Power Rangers light. I don't know. God, here we go again with the Midwest. Seems to be the theme of the day. But I don't think that Power Rangers Light is really going to hit me on any kind of magical level. I'm gonna hang in there for a while and see if we get anything. I think Kyle Higgins has definitely earned that from me because he's impressed me in the past, and I'm hoping he could do it again.
Well, and I am interested. Like, do we have any? Because there was that cover that shows kind of a Megazord looking creature.
Iron Giant, yeah, the second print number
Yeah,
1.
yeah. So, like, I don't know if that happens in the second one, but that does interest me
Sure
because,
didn't happen in the first one.
well, yeah,
Spoiler
because
cover.
a lot of American adaptations of Tokusatsu doesn't introduce the Megazord and the giant robot concept, so I'm interested to see if he can make that work in a comic book property outside of Power Rangers. Probably no better time than now, though, with Godzilla and Kong and Godzilla on the brink.
Hashtag Team Kong.
I'm with that. I like that movie better, so. Have you seen the meme of like the gorilla sitting at the zoo? He's like, I'm gonna try my best, but he is kind of a giant mutated lizard. I don't want it to be Power Rangers Light. He's 30-ish. I'd like to lean towards his age. See, but that's what scares me is like there was so much more 30-year-old like problems that could have been explored in that first issue, and they rushed past all of that to make sure we met his annoying friend. And see, that's why I feel like it feels like Power Rangers Light.
Make sure he attacks the police so you know that he's got attitude, he's edgy. Make sure you know that Lord Draken exists in this universe. Like, they just threw everything in that first issue unnecessarily and left nothing to be discovered.
Yeah.
Except the Zord. They left that to. Oh wait, no, they didn't, because they released that spoiler cover
on the cover. Yeah,
left nothing. Now we're just waiting on the.
I hate to like get into like real world politics with it either, but like that is absolutely the only like privileged white guy is how that police interaction played out in that first book. Like, if you were anybody else, you would not like attack the police just to show that you have some grit and some attitude and some edginess. You'd be like, all right, dude, like I didn't have nothing to do with this. Like, can me and my friend go?
As a matter of fact, I'm glad you're here. We need help. What is this? Not all of a sudden this orb is here. So let me do a complete 180 character shift of everything that they've just introduced us to. And now I'm like back talking my friend, forget the fact he's trying to help me, all that kind of niceness he was toward him. It all went out the window immediately as soon as that.
I also
hope they
thought
introduced
his best friend was like
justify that.
Yeah,
like
his friend was so like inconsistent. It was weird because like whenever he first shows up, he's like the cool friend, but then they're at the bar and he seems like the responsible one. But then like they go to outside and actually he seems kind of like the irresponsible douchey one that you leave town to escape. But then the cops show up and he seems more like a burnout. And I was like, what's going on with his friend? Like, and again, if they had just decompressed that first issue and spent time like in his like crappy life, I think it would have developed him and his friend more. And I would be excited to learn more about what's going on with this powers and how it's going to change his life. But the first issue was kind of like so light stuff. I was like, let's just get to the suit. We need to see the suit. And I'm like, no, like you didn't even need to show me the suit in the first one. You need to make me want to look at these characters long enough to find out there's a suit. Yeah. See, and that's why I say, like, I think editorial got in the way there and took a lot of legs out from under him before he even got to stand up. What's up, Steve? Cool. Anything else you got on your mind? We're right at an hour now. 6 people watching. I have to watch this show to see Ryan's thoughts now.
Oh, I scored this yesterday. Didn't expect to get one. Of course, I've got I got all the Snyder covers, and they did black and white versions for the ratios 25, 15, 100, and this one wasn't available when I went Tuesday, but there was one waiting on me in my box today, so I'm very excited. That's that Liam Sharp cover.
Nice.
Since
I
Cole
am
wants to
more
humble brag, I want to humble
appreciative of
brag.
those covers now.
Oh, after seeing the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, what a great day yesterday was for just coming from like a true to form diehard DC fan who, you know, like I actually like when it comes to like my imagination and my emotions, I'm heavily attached and invested with these characters, and to get that kind of validation just felt so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely feel the excitement, you know, as it was building, you were bubbling over with excitement for it. So, I mean, honestly, I'm glad that it worked out for you.
I appreciate it, man.
Like
I'm glad it
I
worked
do
out
feel
for
like
anybody who watched it.
I feel like Zack Snyder, you know, he was definitely on, you know, had his back against the wall there. Like the Snyder cut succeeding is just going to be something that I think is going to disappear over time. But the Snyder cut failing, I think, would have stuck with him for a long time and really hurt his career moving forward. So, you know, I'm very glad for him that we're probably going to see more work out of him, because this definitely, while I still have my issues with it, I think it was definitely the best showing that he could have given it. So, kudos on the hard work. Dark side don't want that smoke.
I already replied to that. Darkseid wants all that smoke. Ready the Armada.
He
Ready the
thinks he wants
Armada.
that smoke. Wait till it
Oh,
shows up.
he wants it. That dude ain't no joke. He's probably the most formidable villain in comic book lore, hands down.
Yeah, I'm excited to see
Your guy,
what they.
yeah,
Well,
Flash
I would be
shows
excited to see
all
what they
the
can do.
way out. Flash shows all the way out, and Cyborg is the most well-developed character in the entire movie. Like they take him from inception all the way to full on, like the complete character development
Oh
is
yeah,
there for
I mean
Cyborg, every bit of it.
he's
He's
a
the
major
heart of the
part
team.
of the story, you know. But we also know when this was being made, there was a planned Flash movie, so that was more of a seed, and they had a planned Aquaman movie. So there was a seed there. So
They were
those,
playing
you know,
Cyborg movie as well. They didn't have an Aquaman one announced when you got Batman versus. The original slate announcement was Cyborg and Flash and Batman after Justice League, which
yeah,
in
but
this you
wasn't the
see all of their
Cyborg one the
setup.
farthest one out?
I don't know where its release date was, but they had graphics and announcements, and when
Mm-hmm.
they did the whole like Kevin Smith came in and did this big 2 hour long thing on CW right before Batman v Superman came out, where they were announcing the planned future slate of the DC properties and stuff, and those were the three movies that they had to announce that were going to be coming down the pipe, and you see really the setup potential for all three of them inside of the Snyder cut.
I don't know. I still disagree, but I'll give that one. I'll give that one some shine. Sure, they made him not as annoying.
He was still definitely meant to be the lightheartedness of the team, but the way that they approach it is completely different. That makes it absolutely acceptable because the cast that's surrounding him, they don't address it or respond to it. They stay completely in character. They don't participate in the way that he processes or deals with things. Because there's a lot of people like myself who, if you tell me somebody dies, I'm going to make a funeral joke immediately, and that's not because I'm a bad person. It's because that's how I cope with stuff. I have a sarcastic sense of humor, and I have pretty much one way of dealing with anything, and that's trying to make light of it. And Barry in Snyder's verse is very much like that, and they all recognize that they don't hound him for it. They just keep pushing, and you see a couple of scenes where he responds jokingly, and they just Barry, and they get the correct answer out of him, or to get a not joking response out of him. And it's not nearly as much in the film, and the film is much longer, so it doesn't throw it off like it did in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that analysis on paper. I don't feel like Ezra Miller lands it, but I totally understand like what they're going for there, because it is like it's almost a counterpoint to Marvel, where Marvel has lost all their straight men, like, you know, as far as comedy. You know, they don't have everybody is a jokester in the Marvel universe at this point. And so I think it's great that DC decided to have 5 straight man characters and this one like kind of comedic relief to bounce off of them. I just literally cannot stand looking at Ezra Miller. He annoys me to no end all the way
I
through the
guess
movie. Like,
I
why
think that
won't
I'm
you
one
shut
of the
up?
I think I'm one of the few people that, honest to God, really enjoy his suit though. How practical it looks. I think his suit looks awesome. I'm not a huge fan of just a classic cloth looking suit on Flash. I think that his suit in the CW looks stupid and made of velvet. And I don't I dude, I really like his suit.
Yeah, I like a lot about this Flash in this movie. Like, he was great, except for the Ezra Miller part of him. And I'm not like some kind of like Ezra Miller hater. Like, I literally know nothing about him other than this movie. So I just don't like him. I don't like the
Yeah.
actor, the way that he played the character. It was more annoying to me.
Yeah.
But I think on paper, everything about the character from the movie is great. Like the way his personality works against the others, that sounds great. The amount of significance he has to the story and the universe, like, great. I don't hate the suit. Like, I like the homegrown suitness. My only issue there is like, if we're talking physics, like, come on, dude, like, you need to upgrade your suit to be able to go like break another barrier, and that's like my one issue there is like that suit was a little too raggedy. It would have had too much drag. He would need something sleeker and more advanced to move
Would he?
faster.
What was he need to dress like one of those speed skiers in the red suit with the shark fins on their elbows?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's in style, dude.
No.
In vogue.
Well, in all sincerity, there's been like Flash. What is it like the Flash 1 million? Who's wears the helmet that slicks all the way back? The Earth 2 Flash from Tom Taylor. He actually had the helmet that was shaped all the way back
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah,
But
like the speed skiers and stuff.
yeah, he actually had that. But again, I like there's a different element with the Flash compared to like a standard speedster, especially the way they presented him in this, where he's not just running against the friction of wind. He steps inside of a speed force. He's manipulating hyper time. Like that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing with the Flash. He's not just simply running fast. He's not like he's in a machine or a rocket ship that's just thrusted to a certain speed. He's inside of a different force altogether. So it really doesn't matter what he's wearing, if anything at all, unless his goal is to not be stark naked. You don't have to be weighted down by the known laws of physics, which he even mentions twice in this movie, that when he does what he does, physics gets weird. He has to run faster than the speed of light, much faster, fast enough to change things. Like it's completely addressed countless time in comics, and they touch on it in the movie too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. Like, some people like that. For me, I like to see an upgrade. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be like the most advanced, most like amazing thing, but to me, like, that's part of what makes the Flash and Barry so attractive to me is the science aspect of it. And once
Yeah,
you say
absolutely.
that physics no longer matters and the suit no longer matters, well, then you're kind of losing me at that point,
Well, there's always the in every superhero movie in any genre that they exist, and you see them come back more than one time, they always have suit modifications, changes, and upgrades. Like there's not a superhero character out there who through
Oh
multiple
no.
films kept the same outfit. So that's something cool to look at, that Bruce is looking at his suit that he went and got resources for, obviously ill-gotten resources. If you look at
Mm-hmm.
where his suit's sitting when you find it, he put it together to the best of his ability. And yeah, I mean, look at same exact thing with Spider-Man. He just put it together. He uses these goggles because his eyes hurt. Then he gets the upgraded suit from Tony, and then he gets another upgraded
Yeah.
suit. And it would be no different in a Flash scenario where they keep catering to
Well, and
what he's having to do.
assuming this were to go farther, right? That is absolutely. I do not want to see them use Bruce Wayne like as a mentor, yes, but like as an Iron Man character specifically, absolutely not. Like, I want to see Barry build his own suit and like master science. To me, Barry
Yeah.
is a scientist. That's part of his character, and I totally get what everybody says. Like, oh, this is a different Flash. He's not the same Barry Allen, because I do the same thing for Superman. But to me, the Flash and Barry goes hand in hand. with science, and you can change his personality before you change that he's a scientist for me. But that's important to me.
Now,
I would like to see him
the
develop that skill.
in the nightmare scene, as well as in Batman v Superman, we see what Barry has put together for a suit for the task that he's trying to complete, where he's obviously trying to run through time and alter history. He's got a different suit on, even with a helmet that encases him for, I'm assuming, for protection. He obviously doesn't have to wear a helmet just to do what he normally does. So I guess, like how you mentioned, you like to see his suit upgrade, for they kind of show that is a necessary direction that he decided to go in.
Yeah. Yes. If Barry is the scientist, I'm fine with that. Bruce can pay him to work for Wayne Tech or whatever. Like, I think that would be a great way to go with that, very young mentor, and you still get like that connection and stuff. But I want Barry to make his own suit. Barry needs to be a scientist, in my opinion. Even if he's like a quantum physicist, who cares if he's a different kind of scientist? But science is important.
Oh, goodness. Netflix ain't firing up on my phone.
Uh-oh.
That's not good when you have this little guy right here.
Right. All right, man. Well, anything else before we jump off of here? 10 out of 10, Ryan.
I know.
Oh, I'm assuming he's agreeing with me. Science. Science, science, science.
Yeah, that's like when they kind of crapped the bed with the Raimi Spider-Man, when they didn't let Peter develop his own web shooters, Like that's like such an integral part of letting us know what he's capable of, and a whole huge aspect of him, and how this kid is able to go against all these foes, and he doesn't just normally beat them with just a punch, he finds a way around them.
Yeah, I have no problem with the current suit, other than like I would like to see an upgrade.
Yeah, what the point he was making was obviously the stuff was got for a reason. This necessarily isn't like a high tech version of what it can be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, you think, I don't know, cell phones. Like, a modern cell phone is all the same parts that go in a computer. You can build a computer, you can build a smartphone, but all of the casing and everything that holds it together, that is a professional level of quality you can't make in your bedroom. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Barry specifically picking these parts because they make the suit and it all works and everything. That's great, but I want to see him refine his process and integrate some of like the Wayne tech, and Wayne's access to money and stuff would be a great way to help him develop his skills as a hardware creator, What's up? Wednesday pool dropped in. Boy, everybody came through, like 6 people today. These afternoon streams are pretty good.
Yeah, dude, they get a lot of people. It's a good chance to talk with folks. I don't know how or why or what it is. It's just I guess there's a lot of people that might be getting breaks, at that point, as well as people just with the ability to pop in and say hey and chat for a minute, dip out. It's kind of a slow moment in a lot of people's days.
Yeah, that's what's up. So I take it you're
Grant
off
Gustin
to watch
is
the
a great. He's a great
Barry Allen.
Barry Allen, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm a total fan of Ezra Miller's Barry Allen as what Snyder was trying to do. Like, I don't necessarily say that's the direction I would go in, but I get what he was doing, and I think it fits in with his mold well. You have to. Who else would fill that part? That part is needed for a balanced team. It really is. So who else could we have used to possibly fill that part?
I mean, to me, just a different actor, not even better.
Okay, I got
different.
you. Just same on paper, like you mentioned, just necessarily.
Yeah, like I don't have any problem with the character. Yeah, it's just the way that I don't know. There's something too jittery and annoying about him. Like visually,
I can agree with
watching
that.
him on screen, it annoys me.
Yeah, that the way that he gives across that like nonstop rambling over himself, it is a lot. You can get someone else playing the unsure of yourself, rambling,
Yeah, it's like he's
unconfidently.
had too
Yeah,
much coffee. Like he's too jittery.
he's had all
I,
the coffee.
yeah, because like I had a roommate in college. Like for 2 years, I lived with a guy that had Asperger's, and it was very much a part of everything he did. So I get that like weird awkwardness where like he was very introverted to a certain extent. Like things were either super private or they were very public, and he was very like inappropriate in the things he would say and do in public, because he didn't have the same kinds of barriers as people. So I totally get like the weird awkwardness. Like I've been through all of those kinds of situations, but I don't know. There's just something about Ezra that I didn't like. He was just too
Yeah,
jittery. He was like too. He was always on, and Asperger's tends to create people that live on two very diametrically opposed spectrums where they're like on and they're off. It's
I
like two
got you.
extremes,
That
and
makes
he was like
perfect
always
sense.
at
Yeah,
just one extreme.
yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I really never have had any issue with the casting. I didn't care for Bruce Wayne that much in Batman versus Superman. Or no, I'm sorry.
Watch it.
Uh,
Watch
Clark
it.
Kent in Batman versus
Whoa, whoa! Watch it, man. What are you saying?
Clark Kent and Batman versus Superman. That
Was
delivery was
great.
not as strong as it was in Man of Steel. I liked
Of
Clark
course
Kent
not.
in Man of Steel better than the version that we had in Batman versus
You
Superman.
well, what was going on in Clark's life in Batman versus Superman?
A lot of things.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not like criticizing that he shouldn't be different, but I didn't think the delivery was as strong.
I thought just because of the nature of what he was going through that like you get this kind of you get this clearly no, we're not watching that, buddy. You get this clearly angry Clark that doesn't know how to or where to put that anger. You know what I mean? He's absolutely mad at what's going on with Batman that it's not being addressed. He's absolutely unsure of himself or where he fits in. He's absolutely unsure of how society's supposed to take him. Like it is the most unsure this person could possibly be in every aspect of his life, and he's trying to find an avenue to put it in. And he's supposed to be all. At least the way I took it is he's supposed to be unsure of where he's supposed to be going or where he's supposed to be fitting in, and he's like having to play three roles with the superhero, the employee, and just the boyfriend. And he just, I don't know, it gave me that sense the way that he like I never noticed any kind of bad delivery. Just like the scene where he comes down, and granted he's dressed like Superman, but when Lois is wondering where he is after the explosion, he's just on the balcony, just looking out. And
Mm-hmm.
that conversation they have about how he's lost, man. He's absolutely lost.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it portrayed it well. That was my takeaway on it.
yeah, yeah. No, I feel that because he was struggling. Like he was trying to separate and compartmentalize all the different people he was, but that's kind of being pummeled into him. Like he has to be everybody at the same time because Superman's in the news. And
Yeah.
he feels like
Because if you
he's
look at
getting attacked while they're just letting Batman do whatever he wants.
like if you look at it like in the sense of a trilogy, like the Man of Steel is the intro to him like stepping up to the plate, and Batman v Superman is him having to find and fall into his pieces before he even gets a chance. You know what I mean? Like it just his character never gets a chance to get settled. We never see him get settled into his role in the trilogy
Hmm.
because of dying and then coming back. So
Yeah.
and then even in the Snyder cut, you get him waking up even more lost and just slowly coming back to himself. So it would have been really interesting, like more so than ever. We need a Man of Steel 2 now. And I think that's pretty much kind of what it really showed for the first time. And just that final scene when you see him hear what he hears and turn in the alley and walking, and he's in full Clark Kent get up and he just pulls the shirt open, which is the
Hmm.
classic sign of him. Like that's just him in formula. That's just letting us the viewers know that this is Clark in
It's
formula
shorthand.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, to actually get the opportunity for us to get to see it actually play out. I think that would be a great direction to go. Just a classic Superman movie and throw the Parasite in there, let you get like a hardcore villain. And my dad even made the point that they should have let the janitor in Star Labs. They should have just let him be the parasite. You wouldn't have had to introduce him as a parasite, but just give him the proper name so we the viewers know it's an Easter egg that that's the parasite and there's your setup. That would have been it, and you would have had the smooth transition into him being inside of the Snyderverse. I can't even imagine how Snyder would put Parasite on screen. I'm assuming it would look like it looked in All Star, with just how grotesque it was and huge. That was wicked.
Yeah, the only one I don't know. I'm pretty indifferent to Ray Fisher. I didn't like him. I did not like him. He was just there.
I think he crushed it in this.
I think part of it though is like all the CGI stuff. Like Ray Fisher, I literally only know his name because of this movie and all the controversy.
And half of his face. You know half of his face.
Yeah, and so I think like every time he's on screen, a lot of the CGI is distracting, you know? Like I don't really have a human reference for him. Like I can't tell you I really liked him in this other movie. I've never seen him as just like Ray Fisher, you know? I just know him from this movie, and he's always obscured by some kind of CGI, so it's hard for me to say like if I like him or not as an actor. But I do think his role and his character and stuff was way more improved in this version for sure, though.
How dare you say that in National Women's Month?
Right. I don't know. I mean,
I like Amy Adams.
What's her name?
I like her a lot.
Amy Adams, yeah.
Yeah, I like her a lot in everything she does. Like
she was in The Fighter, right? She's the
in The Fighter.
Interest.
She was
yeah,
in
okay, so I like her.
Like she's just a top tier actress, you know.
Yeah, she was amazing in The Fighter. Like that cast and those performances. Iconic.
Oh my goodness.
Insane.
It makes me want to go back and watch the actual HBO documentary they did on Christian Bale's character that really just embarrassed him.
Yeah, great movie though.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I don't like? Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor.
Dude,
they could just like keep giving more of him, and I would still not like him. He reminds me of Ezra Miller. Those two should get married, and they can just be like one character. Ezra can play himself.
I don't know. Once I saw him, like I didn't dislike his portrayal. Again, I like the direction they took with him being this eccentric, younger version of Lex Luthor. And I know that the little sporadic stuff that's very Jesse Eisenberg to begin with. So how much was that him in character as Lex and just his natural state of acting? But when we got him on the back of the yacht, bald headed in the suit, and he's sitting there more monotone, and he's sitting more still. He's still talking a lot the same way, but he's still sitting a lot more still. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like I want to see more.
Yeah, it was a better
like
version.
That.
Still didn't sell me on his Lex though. Like that was probably the most optimistic I was about his Lex, and I still wouldn't mind see somebody else in that role.
Well, there's a lot of people that can play that role a lot better, I'm sure.
Bring back Michael Rosenbaum.
Dude, I could have sworn to God you're going to say Kevin Spacey.
Oh, that would be great too. But we can't do that these days.
Disclaimer.
No, but Michael Rosenbaum was like the best. He's like the best Lex Luthor.
He was cool. He doesn't have the chops to cut it on the silver screen, period.
I don't disagree with that, but he is a great TV actor.
Yes.
Lois Lane. Oh wait, that's the same one. I thought it just moved. Okay. Well, yeah, we need a better Lex and a better Flash, and we'll have a great saga. Anything else, man?
That's pretty much all I got for a non-spoilery take on stuff. Even though we sat here and we talked spoilers on Snyder Cut, I think that's fair. That is absolutely fair game.
Yeah. It's fair game by this
point.
Get
with it or get left.
If I was willing to stay up for 2 days in order to get to watch the Snyder Cut at release, then
me and my wife
I think I've earned the right to spoil it.
Yeah, we punished our bodies and our minds yesterday.
Yes.
Putting in the man hours. So,
which I know, like, it doesn't sound ridiculous. I used to do multiple days, like, all the time when I was younger, but I'm getting old and I got like kids that I have to take care of all day and stuff. So it was a ballsy move for sure. My wife was not happy, even though nothing went wrong. She was just like, "You're so stupid. Why are you doing this to yourself? You're gonna be tired all day with the kids." I'm like, it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, my thing was I want to be at the front of this. I'm not trying to play catch up. I'm not trying to dodge anything. And just from that aspect of being somebody that enjoys participating in the community in real time and tries to put content out for people to participate when it's as well, I wasn't about to that's why I got up early to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was garbage so far. I hope that it picks up, but yeah, I'm going to try to stay in the forefront of stuff. But when you're talking Snyder Cut,
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not waiting.
People would live tweet spoilers on WandaVision episodes. It comes out at like 3:00 in the morning, and people are like live tweeting spoilers. How much of an asshole do you have to be?
The biggest.
But I knew it was gonna, and like, not that I was like super invested in the Snyder Cut and all that, but I knew like this is a big enough event. I didn't want it spoiled, and I knew the internet would if I gave them the opportunity. So
well,
I'm
that's
glad I
what
got
I've
ahead
tried
of it.
to explain to people that have said that they're not necessarily interested. Like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm like, dude, this is not just a movie coming out. This is literally something that's never happened before, and like hopefully never happens again because of what went into this being what it is. It is struck by tragedy. Hopefully it never has to happen again.
Well,
So this
and
isn't just I don't think I'll like that movie. That ain't what this is, and to undersell it like that is just really to me.
I mean, it's the same thing with Endgame, not comparing the movies themselves in any way, but, the fact that you had 10 years of cinema that built up to a singular movie to kind of like cap an entire generation of viewers, that's something we're seeing as an event on its own merit,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I felt the same way about the Snyderverse. Like, it's not like I'm super invested in the Snyder Cut like other people were, but it is something that's only going to happen once in a lifetime, and I'm not going to miss that. Come on now.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, I am glad to see Snyder has been mostly vindicated at this point.
Yes.
Still a little dirt on the name, but he avoided getting Me Too'd, and his Snyder Cut got to be released, so he can't be the worst human being on the planet.
Dude shooting threes all day long. Just
all right. Well, what do you have coming up on your channel? What kind of content are you dropping?
We got new comic book day video coming out tomorrow, which has actually been doing really well lately. Just dropping what I'm picking up and spotlighting some other stuff that might be worth looking at in case people are interested. And then Sunday, of course, is the spoiler version of this show right here, where we're going to dive in really hard into all the books and anything else that kind of dropped this week for a spoiler-filled look back on the week. And also on Sunday on the Comic Vets channel, you can find me doing my hot pick of the week with the Comic Vet. And I got a CBCS yellow label unboxing video that I'll be doing. That'll be dropping at the beginning of next week. Stuff like that.
Awesome, man. I don't have, well, my new comic book video dropped yesterday, so that's out for the general viewing public. And then I scheduled an interview this week. I did the interview, but
No.
well, but the actual content that it's an interview about doesn't release until April, so I'm holding that episode. So instead, I put together I guess in honor of the Snyder Cut, right? I went ahead and I took a Batman book that I had a major issue with, Batman 106, and I fixed it. So
I fixed. Dude, you're gonna have to message me and make sure you get a hold of me at least 5 minutes before that goes up, so I have an honest chance to watch it, just in case.
Yeah, so it's a dramatic re-editing of Batman 106. So that'll be out on Tuesday instead of an interview. It's 12 minutes that I'm very proud of. I was surprised I pulled it. Like, I did all the voices. I did background music. I did SFX. Like, I went the full 9. So there's going to be a 12-minute version of Batman 106 that is better than the comic book version.
It's
I
pretty
just
low
hope DC
bar.
doesn't get it pulled.
Yeah. Well, they're not Disney, so you have a fair shot at it staying up at least for
Yeah.
an hour.
Right? So everybody get in there and watch that first thing Tuesday morning. So, and then I'm not going to cut a trailer from it, but I have an idea for a kitten mittens style video for it. So that'll probably be going up on Sunday. I feel like my channel's getting more and more theatrical by the day, you know?
Yeah. Dude, once you don't start playing around in that editor shop really heavily, it's just like you opened up a secret door in there that you didn't know existed before, and things have just
Oh,
been
yeah.
just
I was
going off the
going through the
rails in the best
pantry and I
way.
found like this old can of worms way in the back. And
Yeah.
I was like, let me see if this is still good, and pop that top. And now there's all kinds of stuff
Aged
I'm
to
doing.
perfection.
Right?
Yeah.
Like old sardines.
Yeah. Very cool.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you get to dealing with those kids, and
I'm
I'm
gonna
going to go take care of
go
some stuff as well.
get them out the house, I think. Run up to LCS and send it. I got a book and a giveaway a while back that's signed. I want to send it off since I got some stuff back recently. Send one off.
That's what's up. I just heard Kanto is like specking like a wild child.
Animated show got announced about a week and a half ago, which you know how those animated shows go when they drop. You know, it really just booms the market people, man.
Look,
Like
I bought
sit on your hands
Kanto.
and wait 5 years and get. If you want it for yourself,
Yeah.
just don't care for now.
See, Kanto is something that I picked up as it came out because everybody was talking about how great it was, just like as a all ages kind of thing. And I never even got to reading it. I even picked up the trade whenever that dropped. I have the one shot or whatever. Like, I have all the Kanto stuff, and it's literally in the box of like books I want to get rid of. So if it's
Nice.
specking pretty
It's
good,
the
then I'm
time to do
definitely
it.
going to be adding that to eBay. Yeah.
There you go.
It's I paid like $4 a copy, and now
God,
it's worth some money. Heck yeah!
yeah, that's
I'm not
awesome.
going to get attached to it now.
Yeah, better not read it.
Right? Accidentally fall in love with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get out of here, man. Let these wonderful people enjoy their afternoon.